Like I had a perception of business that was like the sleazy used car dealer or the corporate machine that is just geared towards profit. I know people who work in what people describe as corporate jobs, as they're either president of companies who aren't nonprofits, who aren't 501(c)(3s, who aren't like standardized ministry jobs, but they would say they are doing absolutely ministry work in the same way that a pastor is. Any chance we get to create as people, if we can use it to glorify God, that's kind of the purpose, right? Everything we're making needs to be in His glory and with the remembrance of like, okay, these are gifts that we've been given so that we can give glory back.
One of the reasons why I studied film or wanted to get into the film industry is because Christian films suck. And then to me, I think it lacks a certain authenticity. A lot of the times, I think people have this very skewed view about Christianity, whether it's because of, I don't know, colonization. But what they don't know is Hawaii was once a Christian nation. I think it was 100% Christian at one point. But you're the first musician friend,
Oh, I'm honored.
musician,
Yeah.
artist friend I have on this platform. So
Well, I am truly honored. And to be doing this with you is so fun. I always told myself, like, if I'm on a podcast for music one day, that means I've made it. So you've you achieved my dream.
no,
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like there's not enough. There's a lot of artists out there, but not a lot of artists, put out stuff that can echo with your own um, vibe. So I there's like mainstream artists. They put out songs once in a while. It becomes a great hit, but there's just not enough souls, I think, in a lot of the songs they do. And then I just find specifically when I listen to your music, I just have this connection beyond physical songs, right?
thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, let's get into it. I don't have a script. We don't have questions. I always start with just asking you, what have you been doing lately? What's been going on with you? Do you have anything, any project or school, or just give me an update?
Yeah, man. Um, so as of right now, I am halfway through my senior year of college. So I'll be graduating this June. And I've had the privilege to live, like I was saying, in this big Christian living community. I have also been privileged enough to serve as one of the presidents of the community. So me and one of my best friends, Cade, have been leading together, and it's been a blast. You learn a lot about yourself, mostly stuff you don't like, but it's been super, super fun, and I like couldn't imagine doing this phase of life any other way. So that's been a blessing. Classes have been going well. I am still like trying to stay diligent in my studies, even though like the finish line is so close. Trying to just excel at what I'm doing and glorify God through it. Just applied seminary. Still trying to figure out what the next few years look like. I know I'll be living in Seattle, um, either working at church, working in some other ministry position, or maybe even doing something in business. So figuring that out. Still working at Alderwood, and we just kicked off our new preteen program. So Mitchell, Anna, and I have been leading that, and it's been a lot of fun. It's come with a lot of unique challenges for sure, and definitely stretched me in a lot of new ways that I'm not used to, but I've enjoyed it. And I think we're finally kind of hitting our stride in getting our rhythms down and just having clear expectations for what the experience is. So, um, yeah, that's been me. Let's see, school, work, future, friends, family's doing good. Uh, Still making music. I just put out a song with my best friend Isaac. called New and Free, which is something we've been working on for a long time. We'll record a bunch of songs and then we'll hate like all of them, and then we'll have like one good one every 4 years that we're like, okay, this is pretty cool. So that was one of those, and both of us were very excited to get it out. Actually, it's funny you call me tonight. I have another song that's being released with another good friend, Javion, that we recorded this year. So stoked about that. He was very excited about it. I'm really, really excited about it as well. So, um, yeah, stoked for that. Working on a few more projects with him and a lot of other miscellaneous stuff throughout the year, but it's been fun, man.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, remind me, what are you studying?
I'm studying marketing and finance, so I'm
Marketing and finance.
doing business at UW. Yeah.
How's that going for you?
It's been good, man. I've really come to enjoy it. I think going into the major, I was a little hesitant and unsure of what to expect, and I think I had a perception of business that was like the sleazy used car dealer or the corporate machine that is just geared towards profit. But the more and more I met people who actually did business and that were in those roles who, man, had families who were great fathers, great mothers, that really cared about people well and were generous, like that totally shifted my perception. As I mentioned, like one of the hesitations I had, and I knew kind of coming into college, whatever you study, it definitely changes the frame that you view uh, life in. And I'd ask myself, like, am I willing to view life in a business lens? Um, and I think I've been very happy with the results. I think the Lord has guided me to a lot of people and a lot of experiences that have grown me a lot, and have shown me a lot of who He is, who I am, and yeah, super grateful for it. I also think taking that to ministry has been very useful as well. I think pastors definitely need a lot of business skills and acumen, not just for understanding what the people they're preaching to are going through, but also for the organizational aspect of working in a church. You know, you're dealing with people, you're working with budgets, and there's a lot to say in the Bible about money and how to honor God and steward that well. So, um, yeah,
That's
long answer to your
so.
question.
No, no, that absolutely answered my question. And you know what's interesting? I feel like you said you want to you were thinking about whether wanting to look life through this business lens, whether committed to do this or not. But right now at my stage after graduating, I like have to look at life this way. Like I have to pick up this skill
Mm.
with the stuff I do right now. And a lot of the things that you were saying, it's so similar to what I've been listening to. So I don't know if you know the guy Myron Golden.
I don't think so.
I
No.
will have to send you the link. He's a uh, business coach, Christian,
Mm.
very strong Christian guy. Talks about biblical um, way of doing business essentially, and
Yeah.
changed my life the way
Yeah.
he talks about business. One of the things that he mentioned is how you're learning right now how a lot of business people are very antagonized in our society. But truly, I mean, there are evil people that with evil intention doing business, but most of the people who are doing business, who are at the level they're at, they're great people, and
Hmm.
um, and there's a reason for that. And it's so essential for anything you do really in life, whether like you said, being in ministry, being a pastor, or being a musician, being an artist. All you really come down to have to know some business skill and marketing skill. I really wish I went to
Mm.
school for business marketing, but here I am. I had to go to uh, YouTube University and study
Oh,
my
me
way.
too.
But
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah, but anyways, I will definitely send you the link. You should check him out.
Dude,
Um,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah. Second thing, when you mentioned about ministry, right? I always think it's interesting. I think to me it's an interesting crossover because I haven't seen this being done, like business people or ministry people who knows how to do business, or business people approach ministry, right? To me,
Mm.
I haven't seen a lot of examples in my life. What's your thoughts on um, business people in ministry? I don't know. Is that as a broad
Yeah,
question?
yeah, no, I that's really good. I feel like there are typically two camps uh that people fall into, at least in my mind of business and ministry. Uh there are your vocational people who work in ministry who are working at a church. Maybe your church has a coffee shop and you need to understand supply and demand and buy-in and how to schedule people, et cetera, et cetera. That I see as levels of business happening in a church. I mean, you think about you have a target audience, right? Jesus spoke to people and he had a target audience of people who society typically casts out. You have uh, stewardship in the Bible. Jesus was funded by a bunch of rich ladies, and without their support, I mean, obviously God had a plan and God would have done it in some other way, but he chose to do it through a bunch of rich ladies, which is like, okay, there's room for that there. And I think that gets into the other side of business where I know people who work in what people describe as corporate jobs, as you know, they're either president of companies who aren't nonprofits, who aren't 501(c)(3s, who aren't like standardized ministry jobs, but they would say they are doing absolutely ministry work in the same way that a pastor is. And I agree. You know, we think about our purpose in life is to love God, to love people, to do justice, to love mercy, walk humbly. You know, it doesn't matter what your LinkedIn or resume says, that's your responsibility regardless of where you are. I don't ever know if you got the chance to talk to guys like Jeff Koss, but he's a guy who is just so outspoken for the Lord in his work, and he does consulting work with other companies. And uh, the fact that they are so attracted to his business and his model for doing life and doing work, all of what he does is founded on the gospel and on Proverbs and on wisdom, and um, people are so drawn to it because it's the reality of life. And he's doing crazy ministry work and teaching people, hey, here's how you love the people around you through your work, through excellence, through being a good steward of your time and your money and your processes, all that. So um, I think that's a big way to do it. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the other side of like, hey, in church, in parachurch organizations, you have to hire people, you have to manage budgets, you have to run events, you have to write documents. There's data in church. You have to have databases and learn how to do Excel. Like that's a real thing that church people a lot of the time might not know how to do, but would help them be good stewards of the gospel. So yeah, I think there's a surprising amount of overlap, but there is kind of a taboo around it where it's like, okay, love of money is the root of all evil. You have, I think it's John 3 when Jesus is flipping tables. You have Ananias and Sapphira, so it's like, okay, there are clear boundaries here, but at the same time, we've been given a gift, and time and money are things that are talked about a lot in the Bible. So, yeah, how do we use it well?
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. I'll have to have you watch some of Myron Golden's video. Then we'll have to connect
Yeah.
again and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it again. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about Jeff, right? Jeff,
Yeah.
does he go to Alderwood? He does, right?
He does. He's been going for a long time. He's a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I remember his name. Just want to point that out. But
Oh, shout out Jeff.
as
Yeah.
as I as you were talking, I just had all these people came into mind. Um, they're doing pretty great things in the YouTube realm. I know you know Ruslan.
No, I don't think
Ruslan
so.
Katie. Okay, wow.
Okay.
I'm
I'm not
I
as big on the YouTube world
okay.
anymore. Yeah,
Let me.
I'm out of it.
Yeah, I'll send you links. It, well, whether you look at it or not, but these people have been, my inspirations in like, making it as a there's many labels. You can label them. I don't know, Christian YouTuber. Well, I mean, he raps as well. He makes music, Ruslan. But he
Cool.
has his production studio, and then he made podcasts, react to um, great things, news, just the culture things, but with a Christian perspective, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they all talk about business and the Bible. I just feel like that's a big theme for me in my life, in this season of
Mm.
my life. Really is to looking to build a system that would, really free me from these financial burden, so I can serve people at a level that I was designed to serve people. Right? Not
Yeah.
to say that I can't serve people without money, but uh, God also didn't say, you have to be poor for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
He also called us to be excellent in what we do. So excellent
Yeah.
work gets paid, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, let's talk about the the main topic that I want to talk to you about, which is music. Um,
Mhm.
I know you. How many years have you been making music now?
I stumbled into it when I was in ninth grade. So it's about 7 or 8 years now. Yeah.
7 or 8 years. That's right. And I remember when you got signed to what's the studio name again?
Uh, we started a little music collective back when I was probably a senior in high school called Supa Media.
Okay, Supa Media. That's right. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
went.
Yeah.
So you guys started it, right? And then
It was the brainchild of this guy, Shay, who he's in New York. He's always jumping around the US, but it was his big desire to get a bunch of believers together and make art, make music for the most part. But we have photographers, videographers as well who do production. And his big thing with it is just kind of redeeming the creative space. I mean, there's a lot of garbage out there right now, a lot of pollution that the enemy can use as a foothold. But he wanted to get a lot of talented people together and shed light. So yeah, really creative guy, really big vision. He's cool.
what was your, I guess, involvement in there? You're the music producer, right?
I do a lot of production for them. Yeah, so I'll come up with beats, send them over. They can play around with it, do whatever they want. I've done random audio engineering stuff for them as well. And yeah, I don't go to as many meetings anymore. I haven't been able to be as involved now that I'm in school and got a lot of other random stuff going on. But um, yeah, they're still the homies and still put out music together.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so your passion. So music is your passion, correct?
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
All right. And
Yeah.
how do you I guess, do you see yourself doing anything with the platform, with music?
Hmm. I I don't really know. It's interesting because like at this phase of my life, there's a lot of new things that are about to happen in the next few months, and I'll just be in a completely different season. So I don't really know what music will look like in that season. But for now, I plan to continue putting out beats and making songs with the people I love. And most of the time, they're glorifying God, even the ones without words. So I'm figuring out new ways to do that. I just put out this year a version of Good Good Father and Refiner that really meant to be just meditative and sitting there reading your Bible or
I love
praying
it.
or
I've
thinking
been
about
listening
God.
to it.
Thank you. Yeah, it. I don't know. I like him a lot. So would love to do more stuff like that. And as far as the platform goes, I mean, I think any chance we get to create as people, if we can use it to glorify God, kind of the purpose, right? You know, when we see God in Genesis, he's first defined as a creator. And that's a gift that we have as we're made in the image of God to create. But like, we have to acknowledge he's the original creator. Like, all the stuff we're doing is just kind of rearranging what he did. Um, so with that in mind, like, everything we're making needs to be in his glory and with the remembrance of like, okay, these are gifts that we've been given so that we can give glory back, regardless of what that looks like. So yeah.
Do you think that music um, has opened doors for you, started conversations for you about God with other people? Do you like talk to people? So, for example, when you go to college, you're like, "Oh, what do you do for fun?" And then you just like, "I make music," and then
Yeah.
the people will be like, "Oh, that's crazy! You make music. You're a musician or something."
Yeah.
Does that, do you ever start a conversation with people talking about music and ended up talking about Jesus? Um, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I actually try not to mention it because I don't want to sound like the artist who's like, check out my
Oh
Spotify, I'm on
man.
Spotify. Like, it just kind of, it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. So if people find out that I do music, then they'll come up to me and be like, "Oh, this is so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, I make Jesus stuff."
Dude,
So go listen to it. But
you're so underrated. You need to let
oh
people
my
know
gosh, no,
you
I'm
do
not,
music.
dude.
But
I
bro,
hate it. It
honestly,
feels so
not
wrong, dude.
no, not, let me just say this. Like I said, not many people do music with the soul, right? Like
Hmm.
a lot of music. I don't know how to define that because I'm not in music, but I know when I listen to it, it doesn't. When some music just don't give me a feeling, they just sound like beats or things. They just sound like
Hmm.
sounds, right? But I think when you put in a spiritual level of, I don't know, production into the songs, the listeners, they can receive that. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's your process of making music, but I don't know. I receive something, and when I listen to your music,
Yeah.
I feel like a spiritual connection.
Thank you. Whoa. I mean, that's the goal. So if that's happening, like, okay, great. If it's happening for one person, that's a win. I'm curious for you, in the medium of film and photography, like, how's that been for you? Um, yeah.
So I've been working for, I don't know if I can say their name in my podcast, but I don't know. I'll organize this part. So I work on the ministry team. Essentially, part of what I do is to create content that um, not just showcase what uh, the impact that the church has on the community, but more of like how do we communicate the gospel to people on this platform on the internet, right?
Mm.
To answer your question, photography and doing film or video, it's all part of the action of creating something, right? Like you said, I agree with you earlier. What we're doing is, it's just insane to think about. We basically have the same ability to create as God. Um, what the ability to create, like he allowed us to do that. It's insane, right? Whatever
Hmm.
the platform it is music, um, writing, singing, it can be a lot of things, right? But specifically for me, one of the reasons why I studied film or wanted to get into the film industry is because Christian films suck.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I'm so happy that you agree, man.
right, like
It's tough out there, man.
I just can't. I don't know. It's not. I don't know if it's a story issue or it's a production issue. I don't think it's just when some elements, when they come together, they don't come into um, a harmony. Then the audience just can't receive what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of the
Yeah.
Christian films suffer from that. Whether I don't know if they are suffering from the creative aspect or or what, but I just think
Huh.
something can be done.
So you think because of the low quality of the production, like the message of the gospel isn't hitting,
No,
like people
let
are
me
not being
rephrase
receptive
that.
to it? Yeah.
The production quality in some of the films are actually really good. You know,
Hmm.
some of the Christian films, they have really good budget. You know, they can they are allowed to do a lot of things with what they're given. But to me, it's just some of the, I don't know if it's the story too cringy or the acting. It's just there's something about it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then to me, I think it lacks a certain authenticity.
Hmm.
At least the films I've seen,
Yeah.
or so-called
I
labeled Christian films. So
yeah. I agree. I mean, I stopped watching them because I don't really care for them anymore. So that probably says something. But yeah.
but yeah, that I hope that answers your question. But that's my take. Has always been my take. You know, photography and videography, creating film, they're all a sense of creating, and then they could be spiritual, right? And but my approach to it is I'm documenting something that's beautiful in front of the lens, but I didn't necessarily create it, right? God created. Um, I have to give the credit to the ultimate creator at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah. That's helpful. And dude, you are the perfect candidate for that, man. Like the work that I've seen you do, even from Albania to now, uh, it's so cool and fun. And I genuinely get excited whenever you post something or whenever I see you up to a new project. So I'm sure the people at the church there are so blessed to have you. And man, yeah, like that is a really cool impact of the gospel. And one other thing I'm curious about, how is like church culture, Christian culture around, I guess just in general around Hawaii. Like how does it differ up here in Seattle?
How do I put this? I would say God is definitely here uh, on the island and with the people here. I think there's a couple of ways to approach this topic. If you're just walking up to a person, they're from here, they grew up here, local, talk about God, I think they'll have no problem talking to you about Jesus because it's part of the culture. And a lot of the times, I think people have this very skewed view about Christianity, whether it's because of, I don't know, colonization or, you know, just the just like the incorrect um, knowledge about Christianity has skewed their ways or their views on the Christians that we have today, right? I mean, God is the same God. Um, I don't know how much you know about the history of the Hawaiian Islands, but um, when you generally speaking, if you ask a person who grew up here locally, they would tell you, yeah, the missionaries came over on the island, they just took over, and it's all their fault, they did all these things. But what they don't know is Hawaii was once a Christian nation. So
Mm,
it was I think it was 100% Christian at one point, and then the queen here for the Hawaiian nation, Queen Liliuokalani, she was actually a Christian, right? When there's just a lot of things to learn, to discover, not just for people who are not from here, but for the people who grew up here as well. But most of the times, those stories are overshadowed by hatred or political stance or does that make sense? Is that
yeah,
something?
that's hard.
I don't know if you see a pattern. I mean, I see this happen everywhere. It's not just in Hawaii, right? Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's sad to hear. Um, Dang. Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, people here, uh, there's good, strong Christian church, and then there's a good number of Christian people here. They're devoted to God's work. God is definitely here on the island, and then doing great things. Um, and yeah,
Okay.
it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what I've heard.
so yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it a paradise, but that's what Hawaii is known for. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm always here's what I'm always thinking, because I'm always listening to your music. I'm always thinking one day I want to get you to score the things that I'm doing. Like I want
Oh,
to,
that'd be my dream.
yeah, I want to
That'd be my dream.
get to a point where I can have you on board, just create something for the project, whatever that project is.
Oh, I'm in. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you need, man. I'll do it for free. Oh, that'd be so cool.
You know, I will get you paid somehow.
Well, all right. No, man, really, like I that would be so cool. And you're one of my favorite creative people to work with. So, man, that'd be a
You're my
privilege.
one of my favorite musicians. I can confidently say that.
Oh,
Keep
geez.
doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Your music really touches people on a different level. Um, Sometimes it's not just a numbers game, right? Is there any other way that people can reach out to you besides Instagram?
Um, I feel like that's the best way, man.
All
Yeah.
right.
Um, there, DM me. I don't know. Let's talk. I'll give you my phone number. We can call. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
If you need Adam's phone number, let me know. I'll DM it to
Hey,
you.
talk to Damon, bro. He's got you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Adam.
Cool.
It's great to
Danny, thank
have
you
you
so much for
here.
your time, man.
Thank
It's
you.
a privilege to do this, and I'm humbled to talk to you, bro.
Same
Whenever I
here.
get the chance, it's a blessing, man.
Same here.